What is up, everybody? It's Sam, and we are back with another episode of Pessimistic at Best, the podcast. And I have my amazing friend Grace with me today. Hey, Grace.
Hello, Samantha.
How are you?
Feeling amazing. I'm feeling just so grateful to be on Pessimistic at Best.
I love that. That's so heartwarming, honestly. We're having a little time here, too. We're over Zoom. We cracked open some brewskis. I love that for us.
So funny. Yeah.
But it's going to be so good. Well, I know that you just got off work, and we actually pushed this back a little bit, and I'm kind of thankful we did because I worked like pretty much right up until I had to like plug my computer in really quickly and connect my mic. So here we are.
Yes. I know, literally. We've just been chained to the rhythm. And by that, I mean chained to Microsoft Office. I'm so sick of it.
I fucking hate Microsoft Office.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm sick of the dings. I'm sick of the,
Yes.
I'm so over it.
This is my first job where I've had to use it. I actually just got a new job. It's been almost a month. Not quite. This is my fourth week. Yes. So
how's it going?
It's good so far. It's kind of crazy. I'm at an agency now, so this is like my first, agency go around. And like it is a lot, there's just you work all the fucking time, but I like it.
yeah, totally. It like makes you feel important, and then you sort of like overthink it, and you're like, this is so unimportant, but it's fun. And then like you get back into it the next day.
100%. Yes, I know.
Whatever.
But yeah, because are you still at an agency now, or is it?
Yeah, I've been a bit of a little sleut for agencies since I'd say 2018. I worked at Ogilvy after. Am I allowed to say like these names? Do you think I'll be smeared from the industry?
I don't think I'm important enough for like anyone.
Yeah, if I get blacklisted, it's actually on your head. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
no, that definitely won't happen. But so I worked at Ogilvy, which was like. That was cool because it was a name and it was sort of like sexy, but but when you go to a place like that, it's very much like respect your elders, respect David Ogilvy's name, get to work. And it's very like too much and not my temperament. And I like love my new job way more. It's like more to my style and more my speed. It's at a place called Weber Shandwick. And so Ogilvy is advertising, so it's paid media, and then Weber is PR, so it's like earned media, and it's a whole different way of thinking. I've never done it before.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. That's very cool, because that's relatively new, right? I mean, obviously, I know this. I was just telling you. I have just been LinkedIn stalking you.
Yes.
But for the listeners.
Yes. Whatever. No, I've been sort of loving, something kind of happened when I think it was in the year 2016. I'm not gonna lie. I read the book Girlboss by Sophia Amorusos, and that word 100%. Has been just like bastardized and like dragged through the mud and like put on every fucking ruler and like t-shirt at TJ Maxx. And it actually is an amazing book, and it like really inspired me. And so I do like working. Like I like being an adult with a job.
Oh, same. I know. I feel the exact same way. And it's so funny that you say that because I was obsessed with that movie. And then if I also think about like, I don't know, like, of course I wanted to be Sarah Jessica Parker, Carrie Bradshaws. Of course totally. I did. Like, yes. Like, obviously, that's the dream.
Totally. But that's the thing. It's like, if you have a little bit of money from our like agency jobs, you can be Sarah, like SJP in Madison. Like you have the luxury to do that. Like it's a vibe. It's a mindset. Yes. And it's affording a very realistic lifestyle that feels sort of amazing. I really feel like I live in abundance, but I live in like a 4-floor walk-up with 2 roommates. But it's like so funny. Whatever.
No, I totally feel that. I know. I was just telling James the other day, like, I'm kind of rich. And he was like, no, you're not.
Well, like, comparatively, sort of. Like,
yeah. Like, I feel like I'm really doing something with my bank account, but.
Totally. I know, literally. So, Ross, our fig friend, perhaps he could be a bit of a segue into our, the crux of our meeting. But his dad was a personal finance teacher in, I think Janesville or something. And so he convinced me to get Elements of Investing, which is this like finance book. I'm not going to lie to you, Samantha. It's like not my favorite thing in the world, but I know it's important. Like, I know it's so important.
Well, those kinds of things, like, I really feel like should have been taught way earlier on. Like, I don't have the first idea of what I'm actually doing. I try to follow those little, like, save 20%, whatever, like the little rules.
Totally.
30% can go toward your living, and then the rest is maybe I'm saying that wrong, because I'm about to say then the rest is for funsies. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, you're like, I'm kind of on a 30% work, 70% play budget. Like, okay, SJP. That's funny.
I know, but that would be the dream. Yeah.
That would be the dream. Over at quarantine, I mean, reflecting on this year is like actually a fool's errand, because I don't totally want to, but like over the summer, I was like, maybe I'll get a financial planner. Like, that's what adults do. And so I got one, and I thought it would be more fun.
Like, how, like, where do you even find one, or like, what is the process for something?
Well, babe, your favorite place, LinkedIn.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He actually reached out to me through LinkedIn, and then he called my personal phone.
Oh my God.
And I picked up and I said, hello. And then he became
as one does.
And then he became my financial planner. He did a nice job.
Okay.
But
do they just like make a budget for you, or like what's the catch?
So basically he asked me, hello, Grace, like, what are your goals? And I essentially had a moment where I realized I don't know what my goals are. But I was like, I think I for sure want to own my own house, and I can't totally tell you why, but to me, that's something that's always sounded really amazing and like just so wonderful. And he was like, okay, we can kind of get you there. But then I also opened one of those things called a Roth IRA, which you put like $2,000 in or whatever, and then it kind of grows tax-free or interest-free or whatever. I think it has interest, but not tax. Oh God, really telling on myself here. But I have one. It's sort of like growing. But
I do love that.
I
think James has one of those. Yeah, I don't personally.
Yeah.
I have been told that I should, but again, like that is just kind of a concept to me. Like I don't actually know what it means.
No, and that's the thing. Like these tasks actually give me an enormous amount of anxiety, sort of logistics-based tasks.
Yeah.
I don't like doing that. I wish I never had to do it, but that's kind of the name of the game. Mm-hmm. And it sucks.
If you want to be the Carrie Bradshaws of the world, that is the name.
Yeah,
of the game.
You need to know how to make like a column chart in Excel. I hate Excel, and it seems like so much of this whole budget thing is Excel based.
I know, which is kind of rude. Like, isn't there a cute, for all the girl bosses in the world, shouldn't there be like a cutesy version that is more like user friendly?
I know. I don't know. Whatever. That's anyway. Finances.
Well, it's funny that we mentioned girl bosses. I have a really good, I'm literally going to share it with you as soon as we get off of this. I have an amazing, I didn't make it. I can't claim it. I have nothing to do with it, but I have been using it. It's a really good, Instagram filter that says like, they hate to see a girl boss winning.
So what's the context of like, are you captioning it anything? Is it for stories?
I literally just use it in my stories all the time. Like it's one of those like, it follows your head around. It's
totally
really good.
That's cute.
It's my new fave. Yeah.
Some people actually do hate to see a girl boss winning.
Yes.
And that
a lot of people.
A lot of people. And that's ugly. That is
an ugly trait.
It is. Yes. It's ugly.
Yeah, frankly. Okay, well, yes, we did bring up Ross, and I think it's funny because we're kind of in a similar place now. I mean, really, like here we are, agency life as 20-somethings.
Absolutely.
But it's really funny to me to think of our like humble beginnings because I met you in our FIG, which was our freshman year interest group, right? Is that, am I saying that right?
And it's so crystal clear, so correct. It's exactly right.
And if I think about some of the others, there's like the nursing FIG, the business FIG, like very straightforward. And then you and I were in music, movies, and the 60s.
I know, literally. And I'm like, Dad, Mom, I'm working so hard, slaving away. And literally we're learning about like ecstasy and Janis Joplin.
Totally. Yes. Everyone's doing LSD and we're like writing papers about it.
Literally
Amazing.
about how like that impacted culture at large. And that was kind of it. That was kind of the name of the game, to use that phrase again.
Those were like a blissful couple months. That was a great start, honestly. And I feel like it's so funny because I feel like that's just really, again, telling on ourselves. I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to be.
Yeah, same. I wanted to be a theater major. The stage was calling. And now I'm sort of like, oh, I don't want to do that. But keep going.
I get that. Yeah. Well, okay. Because for me, I'm like, I like writing. That's something I knew about myself. And I think that's kind of where it ended. And I think that's just because, you know, like I saw all these women who were on TV. It was such like a genre, like women who were on TV who were these writers and lived in these New York City apartments and were fabulously wealthy, which that's not adding up, actually.
Yeah. Beep boop bop, not computing. Sorry.
No. But and then I guess I don't really know how that equated to music movies in the 60s, but like freshman year, it 100% did.
It definitely did. No, I mean, I think music movies in the 60s sort of implanted this thought in me where I was like, I could be a college professor. And then I've always had that sort of like kink in my brain. And then, I don't know, over quarantine, once again, just this last year, I had this moment where I was like, do I go to grad school? And then I reconnected with Craig and like Kevin, who also was in ILS. And I really I really was going to do the whole thing. And then I got a new job and they would pay for it later down the line. So I was like, I'll wait. But then I rewatched that show, Girls, like on HBO with Lena Dunham. And I know, you know, a polarizing bit of media, but she has this story arc where she goes to Iowa in the writing program, and that's what I was applying to. And she leaves after 2 episodes because it sucks so bad. And I was like, thank God I didn't go to Iowa. Like I would have derailed my whole life and it would have been boring.
Hilarious. Yeah, I have also gone down that train of thought, like, do I need to go to grad school or how lost am I? Like, what?
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I don't think grad school is going to be as hot as we think it will be.
I don't think so either. And I think that's a lot of debt, you know, And once again, for a career like ours, is the debt worth it? We don't have like the guarantee of having a doctor's salary.
Definitely. No, I don't think it's kind of worth it, kind of the deep hole. And also too, like, it's basically college without the friends. I mean, you can make grad school 100%. Friends, but not in the same way. So
in the same way.
No, I think I'd be kind of sad.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the general consensus. Even from people I know who are in grad school, like it is like that. Like you're like, oh, but I really liked school. No, we liked the social parts.
Like a very certain like type of school. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't just want to go to school in isolation at this point in time.
Oh, yeah, no.
Sorry.
Well, okay. And I think it's so funny that you connected with Craig. That's amazing. I haven't even really thought, I mean, okay, I can't say I haven't thought about him. I think about that man suck at least once a month. But
basically like earlier in the summer, I was really thinking about him because I don't know, this whole situation, I've been thinking about how people I really respect have been dealing with it and just wondering like what they make of it or whatever. So in June, I basically wrote him a note, sort of like a pen pal type letter, just thinking about him and reopening the conversation. And we began this, I thought, really beautiful correspondence for the whole summer, basically. And he would send me chapters of his new book, and he has like a new studio.
This is amazing.
I know. And it really just kind of tickled me, Sam. Like in a summer that honestly was very depressing, it made me really happy and like creative and and then by then in fall, when I was considering this whole thing, then we'd already had, you know, a bit of a relationship. So it wasn't
awesome.
So out of the blue, but mainly out of boredom.
He's so great. That's even how I left feeling like that semester, you know, like he just has that energy, an amazing man.
Yeah, no, he made me not scared to grow up. I sort of was like, if this is what it means to kind of be an adult and make a life, this rocks. Like I want to do this. And I think it's just because he always trusts himself and he doesn't apologize. And that's something. Yeah. He never apologizes for who he is. And I think the older we get, that's always the lesson,
100%, especially when you can see someone who, like him, is able to kind of make a career out of something a little bit funky and like clearly something he's so passionate about. Like, I think that was also my favorite part about his class. I mean, you could just tell, like, this man is speaking from the heart.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. He is such a sweetie. He really is. He is such a sweetie. Man. I know. And then
were you one of his TAs afterwards?
Yeah, so I was in one of the mentors. So. I really worship at the altar of Craig in a way that's a bit fangirl. But, we all have to worship something, I guess.
Oh, 100%. There are much worse things.
Yeah. I worship at this point Craig and like Modelo and Skinny Cow Fudgesicles. Like, I don't know.
Amazing. The Holy Trinity.
The Holy Trinity. Yeah, my vices.
I mean, it's so funny too, because I remember freshman year thinking like our TAs were so fucking cool. And then like I would run into Jeb at parties like years down the line and be like, hey, like it's
me. Jeb. I know, as if like no, Jeb was always so mysterious. I would see him at Plaza and I'd be like, hello, Jeb.
Always like, at Plaza. Always.
Yeah, always kind of lurking in the corners of Plaza. And it was always a delight to see him. Hello, Jeb.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Honestly, what I would give to be lurking in the corners of Plaza right this very second.
I know. My sister is a junior at Madison, and last semester it wasn't it, but it seems like the city's coming back to life this semester.
I hope so for them. And I mean, that's just like, I can't even imagine. I'm glad I wasn't in college during this.
Oh, same. It actually seems horrible, but I think they're making the most of it, and everyone's got their own experience. So maybe they're having more fun than I did. Who's to say?
I mean, that's also true. And I can't even sit here and say that if I were in college right now, like I would be playing it safe-ish, but probably not as safe as I am now. Like I would be out there trying to live my life. She had a really tough time because she was president of Theta the first semester, and it was kind of this situation. This is so crazy, Samantha. It was a situation where essentially everyone came back to school, but they hadn't totally figured out the logistics of how they were going to do it. So in these Greek life houses, they came to the consensus that every 2 weeks they would test all the girls in the Theta house. And if but one person tested positive, the whole house quarantined for 2 weeks. And then after that 2 weeks, if someone else tested positive, you stayed for another 2 weeks. So my sister was then they're always going to be in lockdown.
She was like, am I in jail? Like, I'm literally in prison.
Oh, no.
And you're paying for it. Like, what?
It's like so much, probably. Yes. Well, I guess you're really getting your money's worth, though.
Totally.
Like, you are in there.
That's your house. And she was pres, so she had her own room. I sort of was like, doesn't sound horrible, but who am I to talk?
Yeah, that would be just like a lot of people around you all the time, though. Same. I would want out every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm not really built for sorority house. I'm built different. I'm kidding.
I think same, but I think that's my only child syndrome. Like, I cannot share.
No, totally. Oh my God, you were the perfect only child. Like, you would just be the apple of my eye if you were my only child. Literally.
Do you want to know something funny?
Yeah, always.
My senior year, no, I think it was my super senior year. Yeah, there was like a speech class that I hadn't taken yet, like an entry level thing that I had to take. So I'm in it, and it's like mostly me and freshmen, maybe a few sophomores. And we had this like speech assignment we had to do where you were supposed to partner up and you each give a speech on each other. Short, just like a couple minutes. So you just kind of like learn about them and then, spew whatever it is that you learned. And everyone partnered up, and then there was like me and these other two seniors left. So we were like, okay, we'll just do a little triangle situation. So I did a report on this guy, he reported on this chick, and she reported on me.
Oh my God.
Yes. And we like sat down to learn about each other just like really quick after class. And I asked him a couple questions first. He started talking about his brother, so that kind of became my focus. He asked her if she had siblings. She said yes, but I don't think he didn't end up doing the speech on her about her sibling. And then she asked me if I had siblings. I said no. We breezed over it. I told her lots of things about me, but she ended up writing her entire speech about how I defy all of her thoughts about only children. Like, I don't seem selfish, stuck up, snobby. Like, that's the focus of her speech.
What did you make of that? How was that?
I was sitting there like, I think we touched on this for literally 0.5 seconds, but there's some deep-rooted thing here. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I wish you had written about something else, but okay.
It was like, yeah, I was honestly dumbfounded, but also flattered. I don't know.
I'm sure to you, you're like, that's actually the like least interesting part about me, which is funny.
100%.
I mean, like, yeah, my parents had one kid, and like, get over it.
It wasn't my choice. Yeah, like, I don't.
Like, so weird. Whatever.
It was so funny though, and I love telling that story now because it's just fucking hilarious. Like, who does that?
Yeah, and then you had to watch the whole thing. That reminded me of something that is so crazy. It feels like a hellscape nightmare. It's very tertiarily related to your story, but I'm just going to share it because we're on a podcast.
Please, but story time.
So basically, freshman year of college, I had a brief romance with a boy from high school, and it was very, you know, when everyone comes to freshman year of college, it seems like everyone's got a man from home. You know, all the Lakeshore girls every night.
I brought mine.
Yes, yeah.
Still dating him, but
yes, totally. No, beautiful. And it was like all the Lakeshore girls would go on the path and be on the phone at night in their like little shorts
100%.
and calling their home people. And essentially,
in their shorts.
Yeah, literally in their like PJ shorts. And essentially it just sort of like crashed and burned. And there was this moment in time where, you know, I mean, I'm a Pisces, I'm a sensitive girl. And I was like, I'd love to be your girlfriend. And he was like, big time no. And so, but then we remained friends. And then, and then he came to visit me the semester after, and we went to a UCB improv show. And he got pulled up on the stage and they asked why he was in Madison. And he kind of briefly explained our situation. And then the improv team then acted out the entire situation to me and a theater of people. Like, actually one of the worst nights of my life was then put on by Upright Citizens Brigade. And whatever, I haven't thought about that in a while, but that was actually horrible. Like, that fucking sucked. I hated
that is so humbling. Yeah. Wow.
That was sort of like, here's a mirror, look right into it, babe.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny. I know that is one of the risks, though, of attending improv. Like, I remember when James and I went to our first Second City show.
Second shitty, though. Keep going.
Talking to a stir. But yes, and we went to our first one, and James was like, let's sit like front row. And I was like, absolutely not. That is where you get picked on.
Yeah,
like, no.
No. Yeah, literally.
Absolutely not. I forgot that you did improv. I went to a couple of your shows.
It's so funny, Samantha, because definitely did it in college. Moved to Chicago, did Second City for a year or so. And now I find now I find improv in many contexts to be insufferable. I'm just like at this point, write a movie. Like, I'm kind of like, I'd rather see a play. I'm like, I know wit is amazing. Wit is truly the spice of life. But at some point, I'm sort of like, to make up a song about like diapers. Yeah, okay. Like, it's not art. It's sort of like, it's just kind of something to watch. And I think especially now with COVID, how like all these theaters are closed or whatever, you really see that so much, because they tried to do Second City online and all this stuff, and you really see how so much of it is being in the room, and it's just kind of the energy. It's not totally that improv is totally that funny. It's more so like the experience of it. And now it's sort of like just watching people in their bedrooms try to do improv. It sucks. Like, oh my God, whatever. I keep saying whatever, but I do care. I do care about what I'm saying. I don't know why I'm saying whatever. Anyway.
It's okay. It's sometimes a useful like way to end your train of thought.
Yeah, it's sort of like in Italy when they go allora, which means like, okay.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
Except maybe a little less like
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of like witchy, whatever. So dumb.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I feel that though. I like And like, I feel like when I'm thinking about funny things that I can watch online, like I have a couple little YouTube shows I like and things like that. Like, have you ever watched, and I can never say it because they say it different every time, but like, by Trixie Mattel and Katya?
No, I haven't.
I think you would love it, but they kind of do, and it's improv-ish, but like they don't have an audience, obviously, so they're just kind of like back and forth with each other, and then that's funny, but like it's because they have good energy. Like, you can't, you
cannot replicate like the organic connection between two or more funny people just kind of shooting it. That is a pleasure to watch. I think at this point, I don't need to hear people be like, can I get a suggestion? Like, refrigerator, thank you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to watch that
my God.
at this point in time, you know?
I totally respect that, yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather maybe watch a like critically acclaimed show on HBO Max or read a magazine or just sort of like relax. I don't find it relaxing anymore.
I get that 100%. I know. Yeah, like some scripted comedy would be good. Yeah.
Like, and honestly, something. Like I love to laugh truly, but it's been tough for me to choose comedy movies lately. Like I really
me too.
Lately I've been is the word faltering? I've been going to like horror and like bad shit, which is also not that good. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I feel like recently I'm in kind of the same boat. Maybe it's just because like nothing is comical right now. You know, like
funny.
Straight up. Like I'm just sitting here like I might be depressed, so we need to watch something depressing.
Certainly. Like literally, Samantha, in August, you better believe I got a prescription for Wellbutrin, and I've been worshiping at the altar of Wellbutrin ever since.
100.
I needed it. I truly needed it. But right now I'm in that. I'm kind of experiencing the cocktail of like I only watch horror movies and I only listen to pop music, and so it's just very like. Just whiplash central, it's too much.
But sometimes you need a little bit of balance, you know?
It's
like
certainly balance. Certainly balance. Yeah.
There you are, right in the middle.
Yeah.
I like can't watch horror movies. How do you do it?
Do you get scared or are you grossed out or like both?
I think I get scared. It's more like then afterwards I don't sleep. It sticks with me. Like I'll have fun in the moment and then I am like, wow, I'm existentially terrified right now.
It's sort of funny because when you look at horror movies, so for example, in 2016, like around the Trump election, horror movies actually spiked like in a crazy amount. That's sort of around when like Get Out came out and stuff like that. So when you research it, it's mainly because there's an element of horror movies that's you being in control of your own fear and your own like horror and despair. It's sort of you deciding like I'm gonna watch this sort of in a vacuum and I know I'm gonna feel like negative emotions, but there's no external forces making me feel that I'm not in control of. Like I'm choosing to do it, and that there's power in that. And I think that's why it's fun to critique horror movies with friends. I don't know, but that's kind of my view on it. But I totally get where you're coming from. Obviously, like they're scary.
You know, then maybe I have to give them another try.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally give you some suggestions. Me and my roommate were doing what we were calling the Brian De Palma unit. So Brian De Palma did like Carrie, and he did The Fury and Obsession, Dressed to Kill, etc. So we've just been kind of watching all these horror movies, and it is fun to kind of watch like a body of work. I mean, that was what we did in our FIG, like watch all of these things, and then you can make have an educated opinion on it, or you can talk about it in like broad strokes. It's fun, you know?
That's like my favorite thing to do.
Totally. Yeah. It's so much fun. And so I think you should start with Brian De Palma because he's really good at writing female characters. His stories are all female centric. There's one called Sisters. Cool. Yeah, there's one called Sisters that's really scary, where it's like this one twin is really hot and this one twin is like a murderer. And that one's cool. But I mean, you've seen Carrie, I'm assuming, or maybe like that one's classic, but they're weird. I've been getting kicked out of them. And then there's a streaming service, maybe you've heard of it, called Shudder, which is only scary movies.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And they have all of these really well curated like categorizations. So they have stories about family, stories about spirit, stories about like, it's like black horror. And then there's horror noir and horror. I don't know. It's just, there's so many ways of it looking at it. And it's cool, especially when you get into like practical effects and stuff, like that movie, The Thing. And it's just these crazy things they're able to do with their bare hands. Like, it blows my mind. So I've been loving horror movies.
Yeah, well, we're going to reopen the door and see if I can
reopen the door, and if you can't, just shut it.
Yes, exactly. Well, and I like that you think about them honestly so critically, because I feel like that takes away some of the like scariness.
Yeah.
Like, even when you think about like all the little memes that are like, yeah, if you take away the score, then it doesn't scare you anymore.
Yes, literally.
Like, it's kind of just like,
yeah. Well, it's also too a lesson in, I mean, not to use the phrase curating a vibe, but like, it is like, if you have all the pieces, you're able to put something that on its own, like The Thing monster, that looks so stupid, just if it was in isolation, and then you're able to scare people with it because you add music, you add actors, you add scenery, you add all of these elements, and it creates a feeling, and it's just so impressive. And it's impressive because horror can be, I think, myopic. Like, everyone thinks about it in one way, but then when you look at like a Shudder, you see all these different subgenres of horror, and you realize it's actually such a fascinating, like the differences. I don't know. I've really been enjoying it.
Yeah, no, that's dope. I mean, and I can watch some of the like old school classics because they're almost so old school that they're like a little outdated, which somehow makes them not as scary. But like, I don't know. Well, and I think my like, some of the murder ones can scare me, but like, I think the ones I find the most scary are like the paranormal, like, which maybe is some kind of deep-rooted fear.
Yeah. That is so funny. Like, I don't know why. I just assumed you were someone who like was connected to spirit or ghosts. Are you scared of ghosts?
I don't know if I am like scared, but like I feel like maybe they're real, you know? Like, who am I to say?
No, literally, I've never seen a ghost. Like, there could be one in my room right now. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
I do my best not to offend anyone beyond the grave, but like, you never know.
You truly never know, actually. And it's so funny. When we moved into this apartment, this will be our 3rd year. When we got here, we noticed all these little like for example, there's like a mezuzah carved into the side of the door, which is sort of this like Jewish symbol. And then throughout the place, there's these little like relics sort of carved into the wood. And we were sort of like, this is either amazing luck or this is haunted as fuck. Like, literally, we have no idea. But I mean, whatever. I felt pretty good. There's some creeps.
Yeah, so far so good. It's been 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years, and I'm still kicking.
You for sure would have been murdered by now if something bad was going to happen.
No, certainly. And also, too, I haven't really been liking true crime, though. That's I'm sort of off that train.
Okay, I honestly never got on that train. And for a girl who loves podcasts, like there are so many, but I just like, I can't. First of all, I feel like it's very oversaturated. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, because obviously when it was, I think if I were going to try and consume that in any way, shape, or form, it probably would be podcasts because listening to people tell a story is cool. Plus also like, I used to watch those little docuseries. It's all bullshit. It's either pre-acted or just like these lame little, you see like one picture a dozen times and it's like, okay, we get it. You don't have much to work off of. Like, this is not captivating.
Absolutely. No, totally. And also too, like, for example, I was really into My Favorite Murder for a long time. Like, that was my favorite podcast.
A big one.
It's a huge one. And you get really into it and it's funny. And then you have moments where you're faced with the realization like, oh, this is actually complete exploitation of a terrible thing that happened to actual people. And sometimes they get caught and they get, in trouble for it. Like on Mondays, they do shorter episodes where they do hometown murders where people can write into their Gmail and, tell stories themselves. And they got this one horrible story of this like assault on a female police officer or a police detective or something, and by this man dressed in a clown costume, and they like read the email on the podcast. It was really scary. And then that woman who was attacked wrote into the podcast and was like, that's my story. The person who told you that wasn't supposed to know that. It like got leaked. It was supposed to be complete. And it was just, it made you just feel horrible. And and all the other women they talk about aren't alive. And so if they were alive, would they like what you were, you know what I mean? What you were doing. Right. But yeah, that's kind of my thought on it right now. But I agree with you. Those docuseries and things are tricky. I don't really trust them unless the family affected is the one kind of leading the charge, like production wise or creative producing. I don't know. Cause I don't like that.
I know. Well, I got sucked into watching that, what the fuck was it called? I think it was called Don't Fuck with Cats. Did you ever?
Oh my God. I watched like 2 episodes of that and I was like, this guy's a fucking freak. And I stopped watching it. I'm like, enough said. I get it.
I watched it all in one night. A friend told me that I had to. And like, I'm not mad that I did, but I was like, this just makes me feel sick to my stomach.
Totally.
Like, this is so messed up.
It's sick. It's so messed up. Ugh, that was so gross.
And, like, he got in trouble in the end, but then they even leave it on a creepy note. And, like, he kind of, like, I don't even remember, but there's, like, a video of him in his, like, after getting arrested, which, like, how are you even getting these things? Yeah. You know, like, this is when I'm like, is this staged? Like,
yeah.
What the hell?
Seriously.
And how many cats were harmed in the making of this? Because that's fucked up. Yeah. But it was just, like, it left it on, like, an ominous note. And I was like, that's really fucked up, actually.
Yeah, no, totally. Like, this is horrible, Netflix. Thanks. Thank you. Messy.
So, yeah, the true crime, I never really did go down that rabbit hole, but I mean, people love it, but that is interesting. Like, I never even really thought about that, but that is kind of, and it's funny too. Like, you know, that's almost like a dramatization of just the news. Yeah. And like, I already watch all the news and see bad things all day long. Like, I don't know if I need that in my like, my relaxation time as well.
No. At this point with podcasts, I'm purely listening to like the Brene Browns of the world, where all I want to be is inspired. I don't want to be scared. Yes. I don't want to be upset. I just want to feel like I can do anything and be anything.
I know. Don't we need that so badly right now? Like, so much.
Desperately.
Like, at this point, I am signing myself up for like little webinars that I would never have even thought to attend, that are probably also kind of bullshit. This is just like another motivational speech, but I'm ready. No, and I'm taking notes.
Yes, I accept it. I welcome it. Absolutely.
Yes. Oh, 100%. I know. Well, this year it has been such a shit show, but I do feel like there is some hope on the horizon. I'm not vaccinated yet, but like, I'm ready.
I'm so ready. It's also difficult with roommates just because, you know, last April I dead ass. So I live in Lincoln Park in Chicago and my parents live in the suburbs, and I just moved home for like 7 weeks. Like, I just kind of left because I knew I was in a bad way. I just like could not deal with the situation, and I didn't want people my age to see me like that. I feel like it's almost more comfortable just to like be a monster in front of your family than like 100%, 100%. And so now it's more so like it's been over a year. I've hit a fucking wall. Like, I'm just so tired. And so, yeah, it's a tricky time, but I agree with you. Like, I don't know, vaccinations in Chicago, they are rolling out. People are getting it one by one. It's kind of like, I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait for May. Like, we'll be okay.
I know. I am really hoping that this summer is like more normal, because at least hopefully most people will be vaccinated. And then, of course, too, it's just like more outdoor activities are available to us. Because like, I don't know about Chicago, but Madison, you know, like, not to say we didn't have to play it safe, but summer was a completely different time. Yeah. Like, I felt like I still had some resemblance of life.
Yeah, like, totally. No, definitely. Summer was a different time. Summer almost felt like, I don't know, it was like an illusion of safety. Yeah. It was so weird. Right. It was so weird.
I know.
Yeah. I had this weird moment where, so I have this porch, and you know, like Chicago porches, they all look the same. It's like the big wooden stairs, all that stuff. And I would sit out there every day, and it's kind of the same view of like the alley and other buildings. And there was sometimes I'd have to take like a few days break because it was sort of like a simulation of just like the same view, but only like with the light on and the light off. I was sort of like, this is weird. Like, this is so weird.
I know. It has really felt that way. Like, this year has gone by so quickly, but also so slowly. Like, this is a lost year, like you said. Like, I plan on actually forgetting all of it. Like,
Same. No, when I'm vaxxed, you better believe I'm about to lose it, and I'm never going to talk about COVID again. Like, I'm
Ever.
like,
No.
let's talk about anything else. Like, I want to just
That's straight up.
topics. I want to get to it.
I know, it's so funny. I wonder, like, how much this time, especially later on. I obviously don't think it will happen right away because I think people are so pandemic out. But like, I feel like later this time is going to be so, like, almost romanticized in the media, and that's going to be really something.
It will be something. And also, too, we do have Taylor Swift's Folklore, which is just a beautiful album created in isolation. And I feel like I'd prefer just to think of quarantine as folklore and then just not think about anything else. And that's it.
That is like a beautiful plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, okay.
This was the folklore year, and that's actually the only thing that came out of this year. That's it.
That's it. That's actually it. Cardigan. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
It might have been on Netflix, or maybe it was one of those other, like, lesser streaming services. But
not to be rude, but lesser. No, keep going.
Yeah, right. We all know Netflix is the best.
Totally.
But it was like a pandemic love story or something. No, this is not. We're not ready. We actually don't. We'll never be. We don't want it. Like, take it back.
Take it back. No, I think that Anne Hathaway is in a movie called Locked Down, and it's with, like, some man. I don't know who it is, but I'm sort of like, oh, I just wish you didn't make that movie. And I just feel like, and
not Anne.
I know, Anne Hathaway's kind of going through it right now. I feel like she's trying to, keep the wheel going. But she was in that movie, like, Witches, where she got in trouble for those, like, weird depictions of claw hands. And now she's in Lockdown. I think she just needs kind of like a Devil Wears Prada moment, but 10 years later.
Yes. I know. Well, it is interesting to me because she's one of those actresses where, like, she does have kind of like a group of people who are anti-Anne Hathaway. Like, that definitely exists. And it's one of those people who I've never fully understood why.
Yeah.
But then I'm never sure which side of the fence I'm actually on.
Yeah.
I don't think she's a bad actress, but then I'm like, but wait, we don't love her. Like, I remember that. Like, it's
you don't love her, though.
Yeah.
No.
Although Princess Diaries, incredible.
Princess Diaries,
we can't
deny that. Speaking of Princess Di, did you watch the Princess Di Lost tapes on Netflix or whatever?
I did, and I also watched the Harry and Oprah and Meghan interview. Okay. I had to.
That I did not watch. Did you have any, like, takeaways beyond what was in the news?
Okay, well, what I thought was interesting, because I did actually see most of the news first. I didn't watch it when it was live. So, like, I probably watched it a week or two later. It probably hasn't even been 2 weeks. A week later. So, like, I went into it kind of knowing what had happened. And it was still actually interesting watching it. But it wasn't... I feel like, if anything, it was almost, I could tell more from watching it that there were really a lot of things left unsaid. Like, the amount that she kind of, like, goes back and says, like, I'm not going to say that, I'm not going to even go there, is kind of crazy to me. And, like, I compare it so much to the Britney documentary and her situation, because not that they're the same, but, like, kind of.
Yeah.
And, like, all of these people are being silenced. It's just very crazy to me because I don't actually understand how that works. Like, can't you just fucking say something?
I know.
1,000 million people will watch this. You're not going to get, like, murdered. I just don't get it.
I know, literally. I don't know. Listening to those Princess Di tapes, I was reflecting on one thing she said when she was like, when I was pregnant with Harry, like, or William or whatever, I threw myself down the stairs, like, to get Charles's attention. And I was sort of like, my God. I mean, I do see that happening in a palace in a way that's sort of like, okay, like, we're in a palace. But if that happened in this apartment, that would be so, I don't know. I'm just sort of like
100%.
Imagining her doing that. It's the context is so grandiose and so big. And so, I don't know. I could imagine Princess Di kind of throwing herself off the stairs, but that's a horrible thing. Like, yeah.
Oh, 100%. I know. And even that somehow almost glamorized, or like
totally
glamorized.
Literally today at work, I told someone this is what I meaned. And I said, meaned. I was like, oh my God. Anyway, so don't worry about that.
That's how you know it's been a long year.
I know.
Like, zero social interaction. So when the words come out, they don't come out quite right.
No, not quite right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to me too, because I actually was thinking during that interview, like, I don't know a ton about the royals being an American, and I was never one of those people that was like kind of obsessed with them, which I know there are, but like, when I just think about it, like, what the fuck even is royalty? Like, even that's such a foreign concept to me. We don't have princesses and like, that's like a fairy tale, not like a real life. Like, it just is so fascinating. I don't know.
I know. I feel like if I was, I don't know, little Prince George or Prince Charlotte or whatever, I'd become a teenager and I'd be like, hey, this is dumb. Like, they're Gen Z and they're going to be royal Gen Zers. They're going to be making TikToks like, this is fucking dumb. Like, literally.
Exactly.
It's sort of like.
And like, you can't silence them. They're going to be on there. They're going to be on there telling it like it is.
You certainly can't silence them. No way. No. Literally no way.
I'm like kind of ready for that though, because that's the only time I feel like we're going to get the real inside scoop.
Totally.
Like, we're just going to have to wait a few years until they get cell phones.
Yeah, no, I'm actually so excited personally for like the Kardashian Jenner clan of children to all have phones and to grow up and just all be like beautiful and fab and cool. Like, I think Stormy, icon. Dreamy, icon.
Amazing.
Northwest, I don't know how I feel about her yet, but sometimes she does things that I'm like when she was like, what are those? These are clothes. Like that. I was like, that was so funny.
Oh, I know.
That made me laugh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love that. I'm going to watch that when this podcast is over.
Absolutely. Yes. I know. Well, it's funny because I think, I'm trying to think, what is Courtney's oldest son? Mason? Is that, or yeah.
Mason, Penelope, and
even
Ray.
Him, like, already when I'm seeing him on TikTok and stuff, or just like the little like stories he makes, he already puts their shit on blast sometimes, and it is so fucking funny. You cannot rein him in.
No, you can't. You literally can't rein him in. He's a free spirit.
Yeah, which, you know, more power to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I live to build Mason Disick up. I want him to. Yes. I want him to fly. Yes. I want him to soar.
Oh, 100%. I know. Well, it's so funny. Like, the amount. I am like a Kardashian stan. I don't want to be, but like I am. I can't help it. Like,
they're amazing.
If I had to think of like a girl boss, this family, incredible. Like, incredible.
It's a machine. It's a marvel. It's a machine. It's history.
Like Kris Jenner, iconic. Everything she does.
Everything she touches is
worth millions.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I love it. I also love that Kim is so passionate about like law. I really think she can do anything. I just think.
I know.
Yeah. And she doesn't give a fuck. Like, she was in a Vogue interview recently where they referred to her as punk. And she's like, I guess I am sort of punk. And I'm like, yeah, you are kind of punk.
Now, all of a sudden.
Yeah, I guess you're right. No, you're right. So funny. I also think it's funny.
No, I know.
People call her like the what is it? Not the creator of social media, but sort of like she kind of created social media in the way we use it today. Like, that's wild.
I know. Well, and like I think I've heard that too about like her and Paris Hilton are just kind of like the beginning of like just like influencers and socialites and like kind of just like that, like get paid to party and look cute. That's amazing.
Yeah. Did you see Paris Hilton's documentary on like, I forget what it was, Amazon maybe?
I haven't yet. I know some of the details like from things that I've read and seen, but I haven't watched it yet.
Maybe you'd think it's interesting. She just has this one part where she sort of like acknowledges the fact that she created the influencer basically. And she's like, I just feel like I created a monster. Like, and now I can't take it back.
Okay, that wasn't a really good Paris Hilton impression.
Anyone can do it. Just speak from your throat. Like, literally.
No, she's one of those people to me that's so fascinating because I don't actually feel like we know who she is.
You don't. And the documentary will show she has a different voice. She speaks in a completely different voice. It's like 2 octaves lower. It's the craziest shit ever. And you just kind of realize she made her money off of a persona. And so that persona she will be until the day she dies.
You know, and that's so crazy because I just like can't imagine that lifestyle. Like,
me neither.
And people believe it. Like at face value, I think that's who I thought Paris Hilton was all these years, you know, like for real.
And why wouldn't you? Because that's like the only exposure you ever had to her, really everywhere. Like, it's someone too where, of course, we thought that because there's a million photos of her, endless footage of her always being the same. And this documentary is the first time where you're like, oh, that was all fake. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's sort of crazy.
100%. That's so true.
Yeah.
I watched a really interesting interview recently. It's super old,
Yeah.
but it like resurfaced, and it was an interview of her on a radio show. And these guys were just like kind of talking down to her, you know, like I don't even know why they brought her on.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like a great fit,
Yeah.
but like, you know, obviously, and people do this to the Kardashians too. Like, it's just kind of like, what even do you really do? Like, you just party all the time. Is that fun for you?
Yeah.
Like, daddy's money.
Yeah.
And like, she kind of just said, like, I thought I'm here to talk about my show.
Right.
Like, I don't, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, and she kind of stood up for herself.
Good.
And then like, even afterwards, and obviously I don't think they put this part out on the interview, but like the camera was still rolling, so this part was visible to us. And then they were just kind of like, well, that was stupid. And one of the guys was mad, and he was like, she was rude to me, like all of this. And it's like, man, like women really have it tough.
They
Like,
truly, people treated her like shit. Like in the documentary, you see Sarah Silverman just, I don't know if it was the Golden Globes or something, but Paris Hilton's in the room and Sarah Silverman goes on the stage and just roasts her in this horrible way that is just very like violating and shouldn't ask for it. And it wasn't funny. Like, and Paris started to like, she basically, the camera went on her and she had to like not cry basically. And Sarah Silverman had to apologize when the documentary came out and was like, I've thought about that set like ever since I did it. It's not my comedy anymore, blah, blah, blah. But she's been through it, Paris. She's been through it.
I know. Well, and like that's what I think kind of sucks about almost this. Like, I feel like especially women like Paris and like the Kardashians, like for some reason, like they kind of get shit on by men and women. You know, it's not even like I don't know. They get demonized a little bit.
No, yeah. That's something that I've really had to, I mean, I turned 25 recently, and I think it took me until late college to really articulate a set of ideals for myself when it came to my relationship with other women, because like you need to have a moral compass around that, because it can get really horribly mean when we don't mean it to fast, and we don't mean it to, and we just, it's like, oh, like having a sister, but it's not nice, and it's rooted in something that's very terrible and actually just rooted in like, I don't know, much of it is around misogyny. And so it's just as bad. And I don't know, it's something I'm really trying to stick to, because like you said, it's just so easy to slip into and kind of excuse as just being like sisterly and catty, but it's,
I know,
you know, I don't know.
Well, it's so bad. I know. I feel that same way. And I think it, again, like 100%, it was something I kind of learned when I got older, but like, why are we tearing other women down? Like literally, what do we gain?
Literally.
It doesn't make you look better. Like, it's not cute. No. And also, I don't know, like it's not like we actually, I think it's for someone else. It's not for us, you know, like that's like why it's rooted in the misogyny. Like it's not actually because I hate Paris Hilton. Like she's doing great.
No, totally.
I have no qualms.
It literally just reminds me of that Haley Steinfeld song, Most Girls. And it's about that moment. I mean, once again, pop music. I just love it. I'm just eating it up like ice cream. But It's about when, you know, I remember in high school when guys would tell me like, you're just like not like other girls, like
I know, and we thought that was the best thing.
I would just get off to that, and I'm like, I have to actually actively unlearn that basically every day of my life forever, because then all I'm doing is trying to put other women down in order to like be loved by men. Which is like, what? I don't want to do that, actually.
Ever.
Sorry.
Nope.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
And if a man loves me, which one does, and I'm like, love that. Like, it's just kind of, and I'm being me. I don't need to like shit on other women to get there. And that's why the love is strong. And it's taken me, it's something that, I don't know, I think about it all the time. It's so common. It sucks. And boys don't deal with it. They don't deal with it the same way.
Oh, not even close.
No.
Yeah. If anything, I feel like I don't know, like they also learn it from such a young age that they kind of perpetuate it. Like, like with the little comments that are supposed to be harmless and also honestly a compliment from some little high school boys telling you you're not like other girls. Like he doesn't mean, he's probably not thinking about how fucked up that actually is to say.
Right. No, literally. Of course not. It's so, it's interesting. It's also interesting. I mean, do we have to stop talking because it's 7:30? I feel like I can talk to you forever.
No.
Okay. No, I mean, I'm in this phase now too where like we're 25. And I'm just starting to get like a little, I wrote in my notes one time, I was like, I love having a woman's mind, but I'm not totally sure I want like a woman's life, in that I'm starting to feel very resentful about the fact that like, I don't know, my biology doesn't necessarily meet my psychology. Like now people are going to get married and like have kids. And I'm sort of like, why do I feel so like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm just kind of like, why did it
100%.
It feels heavy right now. It feels very, I don't know, in the air.
I know. Well, I feel like that's literally like the quarter life crises, but I think that is like to the extreme. Like I'm feeling that same way as well. And I don't even have that many people in my like circle who are doing that yet, but it feels like it's going to happen really soon. Yeah. And if I think about it too much, I get like sad, anxious, all of the things.
Totally.
Like a little bit nauseous.
Yeah,
like,
it's just one of those things though. We've always talked about this time, at least I have, I can't speak for you obviously, but I have a feeling we will agree. We've just always talked about this time in hypotheticals, and now we're actually here and we actually have to make real decisions. And I'm noticing when I actually think about these decisions, you know, like, do I want kids, etc., a lot of it is from other external like factors, and none of it's ever been my own opinion in many ways. And so now I'm having to form my opinion, you know?
Totally. I mean, you sit around at sleepovers when you're like 12 being like, yeah, by 22, I'm going to be married. By 25, I'm going to have kids. Like, what the fuck? No.
No, totally.
First of all, super unrealistic. Second of all, I'm so glad I didn't live up to those expectations.
Me too. And I just feel like I have so much to learn about myself. And I mean, I do want to learn it with like, I'm also in a phase where I'm like letting love in a way that I've never had before. Like my boyfriend right now is the longest I've ever dated anybody. It's just kind of a new form. We're dating for 3 years in November, which I've never dated anyone more than a year. And sort of, I always hit a year and then I can never make it. But
I get that. Yeah.
So I'm you know, yeah, but you know,
I love
I don't know why I brought that up. Yeah.
No, anyway. I know. I mean, and like, that's the thing. Like, it's not, for some people, maybe that is the right path. Like, I'm not even trying to shit on it, but I just know that for me, it's not. And like, I feel that so deeply inside me that like,
yeah, I know.
But like, it was still like something that it was maybe like the supposed to be route. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, no, I just, over the summer, I went on like a family vacation, and I was asked this question, like, my family's very well-meaning, but they're like, so when all you girls have kids, and I was sort of like, what? Like, no one's asking the male cousins. Like, literally no one asked. Right. Why are you asking that? Like, it was so weird. That's the shit. I'm annoyed with that. I want that to change. I don't know how we fix that.
I know. Me neither, but we need to.
Yeah, that's dumb.
It is so dumb. And like, for me too, I also feel like this like kind of, and it's never honestly come from my parents ever. They don't bring this up, but I feel like this slight pressure because I'm the only opportunity to carry on our lineage.
I understand. I totally get that. Like, my middle sister is a amazing special ed teacher. She's so talented, and she is like maternal.com, wants children, and I feel relief from that because I'm sort of like, I don't have to, you know, so I get that.
Like, if I want to be the cool aunt, you know, you can be. Like, that's awesome.
Yes, I definitely can. Yeah.
I mean, and like, I literally don't even think my parents would care, but plus, like, they'll probably be ancient by the time I am ready, if I ever am, you know?
Yeah,
like
no, literally. I know. It's so funny. Like, we think, okay, did you read that book, Untamed by Glennon Doyle?
Okay, I haven't, but it's on my bookshelf now. I just bought it.
Yeah, it's basically just a string of, like, very powerful quotes, and you're like, amazing. But the one that really stuck out to me was, like, I became a powerful woman when I stopped being an obedient daughter. And I think that's what I'm presently working through, like establishing a relationship with my parents as a 25-year-old, that it's basically just helping my parents separate my actions from like their personal selves. You know, it's a worthy pursuit, but it's difficult. It's like tricky as fuck. Like, oh my God. I don't know.
I know. And like, it is just complicated. Like, and now balancing kind of like now I see my parents almost as like friends. Yes. And that's also weird because maybe sometimes they come to me with their problems. And I'm like, wait, but I'm still your kid. Right. Like,
it has to go both ways. Yeah. And now it's sort of like, you have to help them too. And yeah, and that's tough.
It's like kind of scary. I mean, it's nice. Like it can be really rewarding or like just like cool to repay, but at the same time sometimes I'm like, am I ready? Because like sometimes I feel like I'm still 17.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, completely, all the time.
Or like I go back home and visit and then I revert back to like my high school bitchy self and I'm like, what is happening right now? Like there is some type of time warp that I just
It's a time warp. It's a fucking time warp. Like oh my God. Yeah, that's gotta end. That was one thing when I turned 25. There was a couple of aspects of myself that I wanted to leave in my 24th year. And that was one of them. I was like, when I go home to Vernon Hills, Illinois, I will not be a bitch. I will not be a bitch. I will be nice and I will be fun. Yeah, literally.
No, I totally get that. I know. That's actually a really great idea. I have 25 coming up.
Oh yeah, when's your B-Day, Queenie?
I'm a late bloomer, so I'm not until July.
Fun.
So I have a few months to prep, but I like that concept of kind of like thinking about, because this really does feel like one of those years.
Yeah.
And like, I think I'm one of those people, I just do this. And maybe it's also because we're coming off of a fucking pandemic, but like, it just feels like substantial, you know, like it does.
It does. No, it is substantial. And it's like I mean, we don't have milestones basically ever again. And so I'm using this as a milestone. Sorry. And I'm just like, I'm gonna reflect and I'm gonna like really use it as a thing. And that's how I felt about it. It did feel, I went to the Field Museum for it and it was really beautiful. It made me feel very small in the context of human history, which was the point, you know? I think that was helpful. That. Yeah. To be like,
I will be scheduling in a trip.
Yes.
Right now.
Oh my God. Come to Chicago. We can go to the Field Museum. We could do anything you want. That would be so fun. Seriously.
I would love that. Yeah. Also, I haven't made any decisions, but like my company has an office in Chicago.
Oh my God.
So I haven't ever really lived outside of Madison. I'm kind of feeling ready.
Yeah.
You know?
No, totally. I think you would literally own Chicago. You would be like,
oh my God,
it's so funny. Certain people lately have been like, I think I'm moving to Chicago, and I'll be like, what's so funny is you're already such a Chicago boy, and it always makes them feel like really good, but like Chicago's also just a normal place.
It is like the Midwestern metropolis city that everyone goes to.
Like it's like so fun, like but yeah, you would. I really have fallen. I mean, I grew up in the suburbs my whole life. I wouldn't I didn't spend time in the city. Like I'm fully experiencing it for the first time myself, and it's an amazing city. It's such an amazing place. I can't wait for just the revelry of it to reopen again. It's going to be so unhinged. 100%. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, totally. I know. I'm ready. I'm ready for just like a reopening and like reintroducing myself to the world. Like that's what I'm ready for.
Yeah, no, wait. Okay, this is a fun question. Maybe I know I'm taking a lot of your time, but I want to ask you a question. What would be your like ideal dream? Like when you imagine we're free, where do you picture yourself and what are you wearing? And who are you with?
Oh, I love this. Okay. Well, so desperately, like the thing that I miss the most is live music. Like I want to be at a concert, preferably an outdoor one. Like in my head, it's Bree Stevens, but like I almost feel like it would be more glamorous, but you know, we're working with what we have.
Yes.
And I actually know exactly what I'd be wearing. I have this great little dress. It's like this button-down white dress. It basically looks like a giant, button-up shirt, but it has short little curled-up sleeves. It's my go-to in the summer. And I can't wait to wear it again because I feel like I've been looking like a fucking blob for 9 months.
Samantha, in this little Zooms box, you look so French and so pretty.
Oh my God, thank you.
You have not been looking like a blob.
Well, I will say, it's funny that you say I look French because I did literally show my hairdresser a French bob. That's what it was called on Pinterest.
Yes, no, I think every like liberal arts girl wants to be French, and that just is what it is. Sorry, it is what it is.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oui. You know what I mean?
Oui. Like, so, whatever.
Yeah, that is the dream. God. I feel like this was perfect. Also, you're hilarious.
No, this has been so fun. I miss you too, Samantha. I literally I have no idea how this will sound listening to the whole thing. I don't know if I was dropping hot takes or just rambling, but you know, that's the beauty of live the pod, you know?
It is. I'm feeling like they were hot takes. I'm feeling like we are two girl bosses who just made a whole bunch of hot takes.
Woo! I know, literally. Oh my God. And I have to say thank you for asking to be on the podcast. I was actually manifesting you to ask me.
I'm obsessed with that. That's actually the best thing.
I know, because I'm not going to ask. That's lame as hell. But like, you literally did it. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah,
it's happening.
It literally actually worked. Like, that's so funny.
See, and that's a lesson in manifestation, folks. Like, you just have to believe it to achieve it. Amazing.
You have to believe it to achieve it. And like, that's the name of the app.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
And for all of you listeners, thank you for joining us. And before we go, I want to go ahead and do my podcast shout outs for all of my beautiful patrons. Which as of right now, we only have one who is deserving of a shout out. Just kidding. Literally anyone who's a part of my Patreon. I would lick your face if it wasn't for COVID. But we are doing podcast shout outs for all my pessimistic patties. And as of right now, the reigning champion is Davis. Davis, I love you so much. Thank you a million times over. You are an absolute king. And I guess that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will chat with you again next week.